Hi, math friends. This is Mrs. Schlecht. I don't know if you've noticed, but the last couple of weeks, we've had these new numbers that have been popping up. They're called integers and they're called rational numbers. You want to know what? Let's take a minute to look into those a little bit more. This is Mrs. Schlecht explains what integers are and how to spot them. Okay, my friends, so for this lesson, you're going to need a few different materials to help you be successful. First, you're going to need your Envision textbook. Again, that's the one with that little robot on the front. Second, you're going to need your math notebook so that you can take notes to show your learning. Third, you're going to need that pencil. And fourth, last but certainly not least, that positive math attitude. All right, my friends, so this first part of the video will go over lesson 2-1, which is in your Envision book. This goes over just what integers are really and gives you a good understanding of what these brand new things are, even though they're not like brand spanking new to you. But in the meantime, while you're taking notes, if you need to go back and refresh your learning, please check out the key concepts page on page 72 in your Envision book. That will give a wonderful, short and sweet description about what integers are, where you need to find them, and give you some practice problems. But until then, let's see what integers are, shall we? So first, my friends, we're going to look at a beautiful number line that Mrs. Schlecht so wonderfully drew on the board for us. This is not new, right? You guys have been using number lines since like a long time, okay? And we've always counted up, right? So these are positive numbers, 1, 2, 3, 4, and you know that we would just keep going on and on and on and on and on and on and on. I'm still here, and on, okay? So what integers are, it's not only these positive numbers, but you can kind of think about it this way. So far, all of our number lines that we've ever used have just been walking one way, right? Just been walking positive, just been walking positive. Is it possible to walk backwards? Oh yeah, I can't moonwalk, but yes, it's possible to walk backwards. So just like it's possible to walk backwards or walk forwards, on a number line, you can move both directions. But let's think about this for a second. If I'm saying that numbers can be the same side, right? They go this way and they can also go this way on my number line, then how in the world do I distinguish like the value of any number, right? Because if I just started filling out my number line with 1, 2, 3 going back here, how is that one gonna be different from this one? Oh my goodness! So guys, I know this might kind of sound a little weird, but integers actually really easy. You know those negative numbers? Maybe you've like heard of them, that like negative numbers exist. Well, this is the lesson where we're gonna talk about negative numbers and we're gonna see where they actually fit. So before we start adding all the cool integers parts, remember, these are the numbers that we already know. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, all the way up to kabillion, right? These are those positive counting numbers, those numbers that you have plotted on a number line like more times than not. You've used them as fractions, you've used them as decimals, but so far they've all been positive, so they've all been over here. But like we discovered, it's possible to go the other way, and so now let's go the other way. Ta-da! Negative integers, my friends. It's like in that show Stranger Things, and like there's the upside down. It's like always there, but we don't always see it. This is kind of like the upside down, right? Like here's like Hawkins, this is where we're normally at, you know, having fun, loving life. Upside down. So we kind of think about it like that, right? Here's where we've been, but here's what's been there all along, my friends. You'll notice too that there's like a pattern, right? So I have my 0, right? That's like our starting point, okay, 0. I have a positive 1. Oh, now I have a negative 1. Oh, I have a positive 2. Oh, now I have a positive or negative 2. Now I have a positive 3. Oh, now I have a negative 3. So do you notice, my friends, what relationship these have on the number line? Do you guys notice that there's like buddies, right? Like, let me move my head, but there's like a positive 1 and then like a negative 1. There's like a positive 2 and then like a negative 2. They're like friends. Isn't that so sweet? All right, so friends, these are all integers, right? And just like our numbers for the positives just keep going on and on and on, our numbers for our negative integers also go on and on and on and on and on and on and on, right? So cool. But there's also this thing you might be seeing about opposites. Like, what? You're probably thinking, Mrs. Schlecht, I was like kind of sort of understanding this whole thing. Now you're going to throw in some opposites? Like, what is that? Well, I would love to show you. Okay, my friends, so opposites. All these opposites means is that you're going to have a positive integer and its negative integer. They're like partners, they're like buddies, they're like super so much fun to have together. So let's do some couple of examples. So let's say that I have a positive 7. Real quick, one thing I want you to notice when we have the positives, we don't put like a little plus sign positive. You can, but then that might get confused with like the addition sign. It might just be like a whole bunch of stuff going on. So you'll notice whenever you see just a number, there's no negative sign, that's your clue that it's just positive. All right, so if we have a positive 7, the upside down or the opposite of that would be negative 7. Yeah, negative 7. Good job. Right? So if we notice, we have the same like whole number, but positives and negatives. Okay? How about if I have positive 17? What would my negative be? Negative 17, right? So positive 17, the opposite of that would be a negative 17. So my friends, when we're looking at lesson 2-1, and remember that key concepts page on page 74, this is the main point that it's trying to get you to understand. That not only do we have those positive numbers on a number line, but we have the upside down, or we have the ones that can also walk backwards, and those are your negative numbers. Are you having fun yet? Okay, this is what I want to do. We're going to still work on integers. We're going to still look at lesson 2-1, but we're going to do some examples from your book. So this is what I'd really like you to do. Can you turn in your book to page 73? 73. And we're going to look at those problems 22, 23, 24. But little disclaimer, you might not know this about me, but Mrs. Schlecht, not an artist. And if you look at all those problems I just said, 22, 23, 24, there's like pictures of like animals, and not like a worm. I could draw a worm, like a hawk, okay, some complicated stuff. So we're going to pretend that the pictures are there. You can refer to them in your textbook if you really need to. I'll write the names of animals. I can do that. But please do not be disappointed that there is no illustration of a hawk or a dolphin by yours truly. It's not my skill set, my friends. So again, we're going to look at page 73, numbers 22 through 25. All of these problems are related, but they are individual problems. Here's one trick I'm going to do. So in that last example, we were using like a horizontal number line, and that's probably one that you've seen like a kabillion times, right? It's just like flat like this, right? Okay, here's what I'm gonna do. It's gonna do some magic. You ready? I'm just gonna make it go this way. Sometimes making that vertical number line, that up and down number line, really helps you see where like our middle point is, where your positive integers would go, and where your negative integers would go, right? So it's like the same concept, right, of having like a flat horizontal number line, whoop, vertical number line. It's going to be the same information. It's just going to look a little bit different because I really think this might help it click in your brain, okay? All right, so here's my number line. I just, again, made it vertical. So first, this is actually from problem number 21, and I know that's not technically what we're doing, but 0, right? That's always like the middle, kind of like the starting point or so you can think about for your number line. But in this problem, we need to give that context. What does that mean? Well, that means that I need to make 0 like mean something. And if we're reading over that problem, it's asking where is sea level. So sea level, in case you don't know, sea level is where the sea and the land, where they meet. And we call that 0. So what is 0 representing? This is going to be sea level. And you can think of sea level kind of like this. Here in Kitsap County, there's a whole lot of water around us, right? So if you're at the beach, you're at sea level. You're just at 0. But let's say that you decide to take a weekend trip to the Olympic mountains, right? Then you're going to be gaining elevation. You're going to be going up in our number line because you're getting further and further away from the sea, right? So same idea, right? 0, we're just calling it sea level. That's like our base point, Okay, so now let's check out those examples. All right, again, my friends, so when we're checking out this problem, we can see that there is there's a griffin, there's a dolphin, there's a sperm whale, and there's a migrating bird. So lots of different cool information, right? Let's break it down and see how we can use it. So number 22 says, use a negative integer. So already I know I'm down here somewhere, okay? A negative integer to represent the depth that the dolphin may swim. So the dolphin, right, swims under the water, so it just makes sense that it would be below sea level. And if we're looking at our problem, it says that the dolphin can swim 150 feet below sea level. So since our little flipper friend is going below sea level, 150 feet, that's about right here. Here's negative 150 feet. And that represents where our dolphin pal is. But our dolphin's not alone. Let's check out number 23. 23 says, which of these animals can travel at the greatest distance from sea level? So again, if sea level is 0, I want to know which one of these animals is going to be like the furthest away from 0 that you can possibly get, right? I want to know which one is like way up high in the sky. That's what I want to know. So we got the griffin. Holy moly, that's 37,000 feet above sea level. So that's like really, really tall, guys. That's like really high in the sky. So my friends, you'll notice that we have our dolphin down here, and then our griffin is all the way up in the sky above sea level, right? You'll notice, oh, Mrs. Schlecht, but there's another bird in there. Why is the griffin higher than the bird? Well, because the bird is only going 5,000 feet above sea level. So, I mean, that's pretty impressive, right? For a little birdie to get 5,000 feet above sea level, that's still pretty cool, but not quite as cool as this griffin that's all the way up here. So again, number 23 asked, well, which one of these animals is furthest away from sea level, which is our starting point, right? And obviously, it's the griffin, because it's like so high up in the sky. Migrating bird, it's doing okay, but it's like not doing like as okay as it could be. Before we start looking at number 24, I just finished our number line. So again, we have our griffin all the way up top with 37,000 feet, and that's positive, right? Because that's above sea level. Then we have our bird, which is 5,000 feet. Still impressive, still positive, still above 0. He's doing good, We got our dolphin, where our dolphin is 150 feet below sea level here. But if you look down here, and actually if I had this like drawn correctly, our sperm whale would be like way down, right? So 3,000 feet below sea level, like holy moly, that's pretty deep, right? So again, I just use this number line, which is the same as like having like a sort of straight, boring number line. We just turned it on the side because that really helps us, like, here's the water, right? There's some like water, and everything below that is in the sea. Everything above that is like in the happy sun, in the happy sky. The happy sun. All right, so now let's look at number 24. I'm going to keep this same beautiful picture up because we can use this to help us answer our next step. Number 24 asks me to put these animals in order from the least amount to the greatest amount. Now, other words we can think about, which one is like farthest away from the sky, and then which one is closest to the sky. We can kind of think about it like that. Because remember, my friends, that these negative integers, they are less than their positive counterparts, or their positive neighbors, right? Their little positive opposites. Think about it this way. Would you rather have $7 positive that someone is giving to you, or negative $7 that you need to pay to somebody else? I'm guessing it's probably a positive, right? So same sort of relationship here. But now let's put them in order. So which animal is the farthest away from sea level? Which animal has like the lowest value? I know it's like one of the bigger numbers, but it's actually the whale. So I'm going to write that right here. Whale. okay? And they had negative 3,000 feet. Okay? What's next? That dolphin. That dolphin is at negative 150 feet. Okay, and make sure, again, my friends, that when you have these negative numbers, that you have their negative signs to show that it is, in fact, negative. So now I'm just moving up, right? Got the whale, got the dolphin. Next, we got the bird, 5,000 feet. So the bird is a positive 5,000 feet. So since it's a positive 5,000 feet, my friends, notice that I don't put a little negative because it's not negative, it's positive, right? And then our last one is that big old griffin who's like way up in the sky. It's like so super high. And our griffin is 37,000 feet above sea level. So my friends, this is problems number 22 through 25 on page 73. And notice that even though they were all separate problems, they all like blended together to help me solve for my final problem, right? Part of that video was all about lesson 2-1, and that was really just to kind of get you warmed up to be thinking about these integers. But did you notice all the integers we looked at were whole numbers? There was no decimals, there was no fractions. This brings us to lesson 2-2, my friends, when we are talking about rational numbers. Now remember, integers are rational numbers, right? So yes, I can have positive and negative whole numbers, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, right? But I can also have positive and negative fractions, positive and negative decimals, positive and negative rational numbers. So lesson 2-2 is really trying to ask you to identify those integers that are rational numbers and place them on a number line. 2-2, the greatest page to check out is, of course, that key concepts page, and it's on page 78. It will give you some great examples that show you how to compare rational numbers, especially if they're not in the same format. Like, what if you have like a decimal and a fraction, and I'm trying to compare both of them? Oh, it's okay. We can do it. We can do it. We can do it. You could do it. I can do it. You could do it. Line, we have all of our positive fractions over here. So I broke it into 1/4, 2/4, 3/4, 4/4, which we know is 1 whole. The upside down, we have those negative fractions. Negative 1/4, negative 2/4, negative 3/4, and negative 4/4, which again is equal to -1. But what if it's giving me certain numbers, certain decimals that I also need to plot on this number line? You can do it, my friends. Let's do a couple of practice problems. We have 3 different points that I want to put onto my number line. So the first is negative 75 hundredths. Now you'll notice we have fractions in here, but now I'm asking for a decimal. So we need to convert that to be a fraction. So you know, my friends, that 75 hundredths is the same as saying 75 over 100, which we can then simplify as 3/4. But notice, since this is a negative number, I'm going to be plotting it on the negative side of my number line. And we know that negative 75 hundredths is the same as saying 75 over 100, which can be simplified to negative 3/4. And we put spot A right there on negative 3/4 because, hey, that's where it belongs. Now let's look at positive 1/2. Well, 1/2 you might not see on the number line, but do you know that 2/4, that's the same as 1/2, right? So B is going to go at 2/4, which is equivalent or equal to 1/2. Lastly, my friends, that last one for C is negative 2/8. Now, you might notice that, hey, we're counting by fourths. We're not counting by eighths. This is when we need to simplify, my friends. What can I simplify negative 2/8 to? Well, that's the same as saying negative 1/4. So our C value would be on the negative side. It would go again with negative 1/4. In lesson 2-1, it just goes over what integers are, that there's positive, there's negatives, and there's opposites, right? Lesson 2-2 really tries to get you to plot these numbers on a number line, and they won't be so beautiful and so pretty and be all perfectly round whole numbers, right? We're gonna throw some fractions and some decimals in there, but I have full faith in your ability to be masters at mathematics. All right, my friends, so that was Mrs. Schlecht explains what integers are and how to spot them. If you have any questions after watching this video, please let me know.